The Chi Season 8 Episode 6 trailer just dropped a warning nobody saw coming, and it's about to change everything we thought we knew about Tiffany. Because when truth starts thawing out on the South Side, somebody in that room is not walking away the same. Episode 6 of the Chi Season 8 has a title, and that title alone tells you everything you need to know about what's coming. It's called When Truth Thaws, and after Nuck got dropped off in the last episode, that title is hitting different. Because right now, the only people who know what really happened to him are Tiffany and Victor, and that secret is sitting on them like a ton of bricks. The coldest winter the South Side has ever seen is starting to crack, and when ice melts, it exposes everything that was buried underneath it. That is exactly what this episode is setting up, and it is going to be heavy. Now, before we get into the breakdown, Episode 6 is set to drop on Paramount Plus this Friday, June 26th, at the usual 3 a.m. Eastern rollout, and if you're watching through cable on Showtime, you already know the drill, you gotta wait the extra 2 days, landing on Sunday, June 28th. Streaming always gets it first, and Premium Plan subscribers are the only ones who get access since Essential Plan doesn't carry Showtime content. So if you on the streaming side, you already ahead of the cable crowd, and you know I'm gonna be right here breaking it all down the second it hits. Let's talk about what's actually going on this episode, because there is a lot happening, and it's not just one storyline, it's like 4 or 5 storylines all colliding at the same time. The official setup for Episode 6 tells us Tiff is throwing Emmett and Keisha a lavish engagement party. On the surface, that sounds like a celebration, a happy moment for the South Side after everything this family has been through. But knowing this show, knowing how the Chi operates, you already know a party like that is never just a party. It's a pressure cooker. Everybody is going to be in one room, smiling, hugging, toasting champagne, while underneath all of that, there's a body that nobody's talking about, a secret that's eating 2 people alive, and a wedding that's already showing cracks before it even starts. Speaking of that wedding, Emmett and Keisha are dealing with something real here. They got engaged, they're happy, but the moment they start actually planning the wedding, they're realizing they don't see eye to eye on what this thing should even look like. And listen, this is not unusual for 2 people who love each other but come from completely different places in life. Keisha strikes me as someone who wants something intimate, something that feels real and close to her heart, not some big spectacle. Emmett, on the other hand, this is a man who's been through a lot, who's had to grow up faster than most, and there's a strong chance he wants this wedding to be a statement, something big, something that says, look how far we made it. 2 completely different visions for the same day, and that is exactly the kind of conflict that simmers quietly during a party where everyone else is celebrating around you. I expect this disagreement to surface in small moments, little comments, maybe a tense exchange in the middle of all that engagement party joy, the kind of thing only the 2 of them really notice while everyone else is dancing. But the real tension, the stuff that's actually going to keep you on the edge of your seat, is everything surrounding Nuck. Let's be real, nobody at that party is going to be thinking about centerpieces and seating charts when there's an entire criminal element of the South Side wondering where their guy went. We already know from how things left off that Nuck's absence is not going unnoticed. People are gonna start asking questions. Where is he? Why hasn't anybody heard from him? And the people closest to Tiffany, the people who trust her, the people who love her, are about to be sitting in the same room as the person who knows exactly what happened, and she's gonna have to act like everything is fine. That is where Victor comes in. Victor knows. Victor was there. Victor helped carry that weight, whether physically or just by knowing and staying silent. And keeping a secret like that buried while playing host, while smiling for pictures, while pretending the South Side's newest tragedy isn't sitting in the room with everybody, that is not sustainable. Secrets in this show never stay buried for long, and with the episode title literally being about truth thawing out, you already know we are building toward a moment where somebody finds out something they were not supposed to know. Now here's where it gets even messier, because Bakery is somebody who has information that could absolutely destroy how Tiffany is seen by the people she loves most. We've seen Bakery be unpredictable, we've seen him hold things over people's heads, and if he decides to use what he knows at the wrong moment, in front of the wrong person, that engagement party turns from a celebration into a courtroom real quick. I'm not saying it happens this episode, but the pressure is building, and you know how this show loves to let things simmer right up until the moment they explode. And we cannot ignore Reg and Jake in all of this. Reg has been a presence that shifts the temperature of every room he walks into since he came back, and Jake has generally tried to keep things level, tried to be the more measured one in the middle of all this chaos. But Reg has shown time and time again that he knows exactly how to push people, how to find the soft spot and press on it until somebody snaps. With everything else going on, with Nuck's situation hanging over the entire South Side, Reg sitting back and watching the cracks form in other people's lives, that is a dangerous combination. He thrives in chaos, and right now, chaos is exactly what's brewing. Let's talk about Tiffany for a second, because out of everybody walking into this engagement party, she is carrying the heaviest weight in the room. She is the one person who knows the full truth about Nuck, and she has to stand there, smiling, hugging her cousin, congratulating Emmett, while that secret sits in her chest like a stone. This is the same woman who has spent this entire season trying to hold her family together, trying to be strong for everybody else, and now she's the one person who has to perform happiness while drowning underneath something she can never say out loud. That is the kind of pressure that breaks people. It is the kind of pressure that makes you snap at the smallest thing, that makes you avoid eye contact, that makes you leave a room a little too quickly when somebody brings up a name you don't want to hear. If Tiffany cracks even a little bit at this party, even one slip, one look, one moment where her guard drops, that could be the spark that sets everything else on fire. And we have to talk about Keisha here too, because Keisha is not just some random person at this party who doesn't know anything. Keisha has history with Nuck. There is a real connection there, a bond that runs deeper than most people on this show even realize, and if Keisha is the one who starts asking pointed questions about where he's been, about why nobody's heard from him, she might be getting closer to the truth than anybody intended. Imagine that, the woman planning her own engagement party, the same night she's quietly trying to figure out where somebody important to her disappeared to. That's heartbreaking on its own, but it gets even heavier when you realize the person hiding that truth from her might be sitting right next to her, smiling, pouring her another glass of champagne. What makes this episode so tense is that it's not built around one big explosive moment, it's built around a room full of people who all have something to hide, something to protect, or something to lose, and they're all forced to be in the same space pretending everything is fine. That's the kind of episode that builds slowly and then hits you when you least expect it. The Chi has always been good at this, taking a celebration, a wedding, a birthday, a homecoming, and turning it into the most uncomfortable hour of television because of everything bubbling underneath the surface. When Truth Thaws feels like exactly that kind of episode. The title isn't just poetic, it's a warning. Something that's been frozen, something that's been buried under silence, is about to come up to the surface, and once it does, there is no putting it back. I also think we have to keep an eye on how Victor is holding up through all of this. He's not just an outside party here, he is directly tied to what happened, and the longer this secret stays buried, the more it's going to weigh on him too. People don't usually talk about how guilt builds in a man who's used to being the strong one, the one who fixes problems, the one who keeps things together. But Victor is human, and watching everyone around him grieve, search, and ask questions about Nuck while he stays silent, that's going to start showing on his face whether he wants it to or not. If anybody at that party is paying close enough attention, they might start to notice something is off with him too, and that could be just as dangerous for Tiffany as anything Bakery might say. At the end of the day, this episode is about the cost of secrets. It's about what happens when you try to protect the people you love by keeping them in the dark, and how that protection can turn into the very thing that destroys the trust you were trying to save. Tiffany did what she felt she had to do, but the truth doesn't stay buried in the South Side, not on this show, not ever. Somebody always finds out. The question is who finds out first, how they find out, and what they do with that information once they have it. Does Keisha find a piece of the puzzle that makes her start connecting dots? Does Bakery decide this is the perfect moment to remind Tiffany exactly what he knows? Does Reg sense weakness in the room and use it to his advantage? All of that is sitting right there underneath a party that is supposed to be about love and celebration. And that's really what makes this show special, even after 8 seasons. It takes the most human moments, an engagement party, a wedding, a family gathering, and reminds us that joy and grief can exist in the very same room at the very same time. Somebody can be celebrating the best day of their life while somebody else right next to them is silently falling apart. That is the South Side. That is the Chi, and as this final season keeps moving toward its ending, every episode feels like it's carrying more weight than the last, because we know the goodbyes are coming, and we know not everybody is making it to the finish line in one piece, emotionally or otherwise. So when this episode drops, get ready to feel something, because this isn't just about who said what or who finds out what. It's about watching people we've followed for 8 seasons try to hold on to love, family, and loyalty while truth is creeping up on them from every direction. Whatever happens, it's going to hurt somebody, and honestly, that's exactly why we keep coming back to this show. This is the final season, and every single moment matters now more than ever. Let me know down below what you think is really going to happen when truth starts thawing out in this episode. Who do you think finds out the truth about Nuck first, and how do you think they're gonna react? Drop your theories in the comments. I read every single one of them. If you're new here and you love the Chi as much as I do, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single breakdown this season. And if this video helped you get ready for episode 6, do me a favor and smash that like button. It really helps this channel grow. I'll be back with more The Chi Season 8 content very soon, so stay close. Until then, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one. You said, I don't like your hook again, right hook suspenseful powerful cursity, and start with the Chi Season 8 Episode 6 trailer. The Chi Season 8 Episode 6 trailer just dropped a warning nobody saw coming, and it's about to change everything we thought we knew about Tiffany. Because when truth starts thawing out on the south side, somebody in that room is not walking away the same. Episode 6 of the Chi Season 8 has a title, and that title alone tells you everything you need to know about what's coming. It's called When Truth Thaws, and after Nuck got dropped off in the last episode, that title is hitting different. Because right now, the only people who know what really happened to him are Tiffany and Victor, and that secret is sitting on them like a ton of bricks. The coldest winter the South Side has ever seen is starting to crack, and when ice melts, it exposes everything that was buried underneath it. That is exactly what this episode is setting up, and it is going to be heavy. Now, before we get into the breakdown, Episode 6 is set to drop on Paramount Plus this Friday, June 26th, at the usual 3 a.m. Eastern rollout, and if you're watching through cable on Showtime, you already know the drill. You gotta wait the extra 2 days, landing on Sunday, June 28th. Streaming always gets it first, and premium plan subscribers are the only ones who get access since Essential Plan doesn't carry Showtime content. So if you on the streaming side, you already ahead of the cable crowd, and you know I'm gonna be right here breaking it all down the second it hits. Let's talk about what's actually going on this episode.